Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, Ravens versus Chiefs. Let's talk. So the Ravens and Chiefs kick off the 2024 season tonight. Um, a replay of sorts of the AFC Championship. Will this game turn out the same? Will this game be a shootout, or will it be a low-scoring defensive battle? Who knows? But what will this game prove, dependent upon who wins? What will it prove if the Chiefs win? What will it prove if the Ravens win? Well, for the Kansas City Chiefs, if they win tonight, I don't think it proves anything. Most people expect the Chiefs to be a better version of themselves this year than last year. Most people expect that the Chiefs will go on and three-peat, right? Do the Chiefs have a good chance to three-peat? I believe they do. I believe they brought back probably 90% of their core. They added a few pieces here and there. They added some nice pieces in the draft, one of which is Xavier Worthy, who I expect to have a big game tonight. I absolutely do. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I don't think it proves anything if the Chiefs win, other than they are a great team, right? But I think that if the Baltimore Ravens win, I think the biggest thing it will say is how close they are to the Chiefs, right? I think to have rebuilt your offensive line, whether that's good or bad, we'll know a little bit about that tonight. To have added Derrick Henry and then add some talent in the secondary, which is kind of the majority of our moves this all season, that who are going to make an impact as it pertains to tonight. I think that all it proves is that the Ravens may be inching a little closer, right? A win doesn't mean they surpassed the Chiefs or anything like that, because you got to get some chips to even be talked about in the same category as the Chiefs. And so I think that the winner or the loser of tonight, I don't think the implications last into the season. I think these teams are both professional, led by franchise quarterbacks. I think they will both be able to turn the page and move on to week number two. Okay. I think if the Chiefs win, I don't think it increases their confidence or anything like that. I think they're already confident. Their minds are set on the championship, the three-peat. In fact, they've already put last season away based on the conversations that are coming out of Kansas City. So their mind is going to be focused on week 1 through week 17. And for the Baltimore Ravens, I think that a week 1 win certainly could build some confidence, but I think a week 1 loss has the potential to become psychological. Not psychological in the context of they may stumble in week 2 and week 3 and they may hit a skid early in the season. No, no, no. Psychological in the context of when they get to the playoffs. If they have to see the Kansas City Chiefs again, they're going to have some flashbacks over week 1. They're going to have flashbacks of the AFC Championship. They're going to have flashbacks over a 1-5 record against these Chiefs. With a loss tonight, it'd be 1-6 in the Lamar Jackson era. And so that's what they're going to have flashbacks. That's when it becomes psychological. See, I certainly believe the Baltimore Ravens have the potential to turn the page and move on to week 2. But when you have to see this team again, because remember, the championship is going through Kansas City, not the city, but the team. And so I think that it could become psychological for the Baltimore Ravens, because you've seen us dominate in the regular season, get downhill on teams and look really good. But for whatever the reason, excuse me, for whatever the reason, when we face the Chiefs, we seem to play a lesser version of ourselves, and that's including the coaching staff. The coaching staff seems to be a lesser version of themselves. All right. So let's talk about the game specifically. I think that um, this is going to be a game 1 blowout. Okay. This is what I'm really thinking. This is not clickbait. It can't be clickbait because I'm in the middle of the video at this point. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win by more than 7 points. For me, a blowout is 7+ points. Okay. I believe the Kansas City Chiefs win by 7+ points because I think that With that new weapon, Xavier Worthy, that I referenced earlier, I think they're going to go deep and they're going to try to go deep often. And with understanding that Nate Wiggins has that kind of elite level speed that could somewhat match Xavier Worthy, the offensive player has the advantage because they know where they're headed, and the defender has to react to their route concepts and things of that nature. Also, Pat Mahomes has a way of getting on track with young, talented players very, very quickly. And so I would almost guarantee they've already developed a level of chemistry. And so I look for Xavier Worthy to be looking to take the top off of the defense. Do we have elite level safeties? Yes, at least one of them. Do we have the talent in the secondary to compete with their wide receivers? Yes, we absolutely do. But I think that just like the offensive line is going to be learning themselves, this defense is going to learn themselves under new DC Zach Orr. Zach Orr is a protege of Mike McDonald, but the fact of the matter is he's not Mike McDonald. It's one thing to learn from uh, a guy, but it's another thing to fill his shoes. And so I think that's going to be one of the big differences. I think the Chiefs are going to go Xavier Worthy often. And then, of course, you got Travis Kelsey. And then that they will turn around and absolutely hand it to Isaiah Pacheco and try to get him going downhill against this Baltimore Ravens front. And so it's going to be a learning process for this defense. Although they're familiar with one another, you do have some parts that was not there last year. You had Trent Simpson, who was in house but not on the field against the Chiefs. You have Jadeveon Clowney, who's gone. So you have David Ajabo type, who is going to be trying to fill in some of that Jadeveon Clowney productivity. You have a guy like a Nate Wiggins, who I'm sure they're going to try and place on Xavier Worthy. You have a guy like Eddie Jackson, who's going to be playing free safety in some aspect, while Kyle Hamilton plays down in the box and things of that nature. So you have some new parts, and so you have to wonder what these new parts are going to look like when they're facing live competition. Okay, now let's jump to the offense side of the ball. This offense is going to be absolutely in a learning process as well. Yes, this is the second year in the Todd Monken system, and they should be a better version of themselves. But when you don't really know how that offensive line is going to gel or how fast they will gel, I think that's going to be a big factor. Here's one thing we know: Chris Jones is the best defensive interior lineman, maybe the best defensive player in the league right now. The way he can wreck a game, the way he can push the pocket, and then offer some pass rush productivity as well against this makeshift offensive line. Voorhees, Daniel Falele, and even Patrick McCarry, who's a veteran, but he's never really started the season as a starter. I think that Chris Jones and this defensive front is going to be too much for this offensive line to handle. I think it'll be difficult for the Baltimore Ravens to, um, have a clean pocket for Lamar Jackson. I think you're going to see several scrambles from Lamar Jackson, not because they're called, but because he's going to have to be running around, and I think um, that's going to cause this offensive coaching staff to, be able to make adjustments on the fly. Do they bring in an extra blocker? Do they bring in Patrick McCarry and just run downhill with him and Derrick Henry? But I don't think that this is going to be the game where the Ravens are going to be able to show who they are offensively. I think you're going to see some of the same. Yes, I know Derrick Henry is a flat out stud, but the offensive line is much, much different. The offensive line is new, and they don't have, as a collective group, they don't have any real live game action as a complete unit. What you saw in the preseason was a Ronnie Stanley and a Tyler Linderbaum who were out, you did see the other three starters, but you never seen them together. And this Kansas City defensive front knows one another. They know what they like, and I'm sure they've already schemed up a lot of blitz packages. They've already schemed up some front end stunts, and I think that it's going to spell disaster for Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. And maybe that's a benefit. Maybe that's a benefit that we have trouble tonight in game one, because that gives us roughly 8 to 9 days to get ready for week two. That gives us an opportunity to kind of look at some film and see who's doing what. Are these guys in the best position? Is Daniel Falele too big and too slow to play guard? Do we need to move him back to left tackle where he's showed a little bit of flash out there? Is Ben Cleveland better suited? I think tonight is going to be the about the trenches. That's what I absolutely believe. And so I'm gonna predict this score to be something like 20. I want to say 24, but I want to also say 27. So I'm gonna go in the middle. I'm gonna say 25 to 19. I'm saying this game is going to be actually I'm gonna go 27-19. That's what's going to be the final score in this game. Kansas City getting a win um, um, on ring ceremony night. I'm sorry, Ravens fans, but that's what I believe happens tonight. I just don't have the confidence right now. Not in Lamar Jackson, not in Zay Flowers, not in and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, but I don't have the confidence in this offensive line just yet. Um, hey, I hope that I'm wrong. I don't care if you guys beat me up if I'm wrong and the Ravens pull this win out, but I just don't see how they win tonight with a lot of newness, both offensively and defensively. So let me know what you guys want me to know, man. Who you guys think win? What's the score? And hopefully we can jump in here after the game, man, and talk a little bit about what we saw. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.